Hi guys, thanks for joining me again. I'm hoping today to put this pumpkin to really good use. So I've decided that I'm going to use it as an insulated bowl for mac and cheese baked in the oven. So let's just get started. I imagine that for most of my US and Canadian subscribers, working with pumpkins like this is first nature. But here in the UK, it's not that commonplace, and to be honest, for most people, I think if it takes place at all, it's at Halloween. So I will be going into some details, so I do hope you bear with me. I'm hoping to show just what good value a pumpkin is. This £2, sort of under $3 pumpkin is going to go a long way indeed. I found that it's very versatile and you can use almost every part of it. I've chopped the top off and now I'm able to scoop out all the seeds and this very fibrous membrane that goes around them. And this way I'll be left with an empty container, which eventually will hold my mac and cheese. As you can see, you get an awful lot of seeds in them and they are bound up with this fibrous mass. It's not as much work to get them separated from it, and they're worth every effort and they're full of nutrition. There you go, it's now empty and I can just spray it lightly with this olive oil inside and out, and then it's ready to go in the oven for roasting. I roasted mine for about 40 minutes at 200 degrees. Putting it in this earthenware dish distributes the heat more evenly for cooking, supports the pumpkin to a degree and makes it easier to get in and out, but you could of course just cook this on the bars. While that's cooking, let's get back to sorting those seeds. I've put them in a large bowl of water, and as you can see, the vast majority of the seeds have actually floated to the top, leaving the fibrous material underneath. This really helps our task. Just scoop off the seeds and pop them into a tray. It doesn't matter what tray, it's only going to be used to hold them. And once you've got them separate, you can get rid of the water, get some fresh water in the bowl and a sieve, and all you have to do then is wash these seeds and get any last remaining bits of the fibrous matter off them. And you do this by popping them in the sieve and working them through the water. Once thoroughly washed, they need a good shake dry, and then popping onto a clean dry tea towel to dry out at least overnight before you can use them. Next we move on to making the crispy crumb topping. In a heavy based and dry pan, I've tipped some breadcrumbs made previously and dried, and I've added a little salt, a little black pepper, some oregano, and then just a tiny hint of cayenne pepper to give it a slight buzz in the background and a little bit of colour. Then just add a little bit of olive oil, and this will just actually get the process started. You don't want very much at all. And then pop them on the stove, but stand with them and watch them carefully, because they go from white to a lovely golden toasty colour in only a minute or so, and they would go from a lovely toasty golden till black and burnt in only a matter of seconds. So do keep an eye on them. Now just pop these to one side for later on. Now onto the mac and cheese. I went to the nearest town for macaroni, but this is the closest they had. I've popped that onto boil in some lightly salted water for about 10 minutes until cooked but al dente. Next it's onto the cheese sauce, and I'm making a roux here with about 1.5 ounces of butter and about 2.5 ounces of flour. Season and then cook out the roux. This actually expands the glutens in the flour, which thickens the sauce, so it's a crucial stage. And when you've got it like this, then it's time to start adding your milk bit by bit, not all at once, and this helps you avoid lumps. When your sauce has reached this stage, it's time to add either rich thick double cream, or in my case I add this creamy single cream. Dairy free double cream or whipped cream is hard to come by in the UK, and I find that this single cream does the job perfectly well really. Grate about 2/3 of this block of cheese into the sauce, reserving a little for later on, and then give this a good stir in to start the dissolving process. Don't worry that it might not dissolve, it will only take a minute or two on the stove again and it'll all be melted in. Now that the pumpkin has been roasted and cooled, it's time to take out the flesh and hollow it out. You'll see you get quite a lot of flesh, and this is going to come into something much later on for my bonfire night video, which will follow this in a few days' time. Stir in your pasta noodles into the cheese sauce and then pour this into your pumpkin ready for the oven. It may look a little runny still at this stage, but that's what you want, because remember the cooking process hasn't finished yet and it's about to be baked, where it will thicken up beautifully. Finish this off with a little grated cheese on top, and then that crumb that we made earlier, it's time now for it to be put over the top, and this gives a lovely texture and flavour and contrast, and it looks very pretty when it's served. 20 minutes in the oven, and doesn't that look luscious? For choice and contrast, I've decided to pop on a quick chilli. A slow cooker would do just fine for this dish, but I am to like this methylated spirit camping stove of mine, because the beauty is you can transport it outside, and if you're all sat outside, it's a nice thing that you can keep it simmering away warm for anyone to help themselves whenever they wish. First, I've diced up a small onion, and this is about the right size to go with around the 10 ounces of minced or ground beef that I'm about to use. Pop the onion into the pan and add a tiny drop of sunflower oil, just so that you can actually start the frying process. Then add the ground beef to the onion and the oil in the pan, and then you can start the browning off of the meat and the onions before adding a tin of red kidney beans in a tomato sauce with chilli already added. This is a great time saver if you're in a rush, and they're an excellent product. Light the stove and pop this under the pan. You'll be surprised how quickly this can heat up, and it will be frying within seconds. And then you can always lower the heat later on to have it simmer. Add a can of water to get the liquid level correct. And after only a few minutes, it was already cooked to this level. And I'm sure you'll agree that a hot bowl of this on a cold Halloween night would just hit the spot. And just check out this mac and cheese from the pumpkin. It'll taken on flavour from the pumpkin, but I didn't add the pumpkin fresh because I want that for bonfire night. So I'd just like to finish by wishing you all a very happy, fun and safe Halloween. And I look forward to seeing you on my next video. And thank you, as always, for joining me. And do please consider subscribing to my channel and clicking the notifications button so you never miss the next video. Thank you.